Dick Weber tied for 33rd. Got to give him a plug.
Yes,
because here's another great champion. Wants to win his second Firestone. Marshall Holman, 19 titles, including 2 United States Opens.
They call him Magnificent Marshall, and he has definitely earned that praise.
All right, he left the 7-pin on the left lane. Very rushed to the line, but it was his first shot.
He has that quick style, as you said, Chris, but a very safe shot right there as he sends the ball wide. Doesn't want to go high, as the other players have done on this left-hand lane in the very first frame. Almost gets the strike, but leaves himself a simple spare, the 7-pin. Blows in that thumb hole, and we get some of that moisture down as it's becoming very warm in this building.
It's a capacity crowd watching with you. Sports writers from all over the nation covering this, the great prestigious Firestone Tournament of Champions. And all of us need to thank Mike Connor and Jerry Kern for their help on the part of Firestone. They've been great. And Baker, who has 2 victories, leaves the 3-6-10. A little upset the way he slid to the line.
Sometimes that happens. The approaches get a little tighter as the humidity and the heat in the building rides, a capacity crowd, and a beautiful day here in Akron as temperatures going up into the 70s. Mark Baker should not have let that affect him. There's $50,000 at stake and a 7-year exemption into this tournament. And that in itself is worth a whole bunch of money.
Which is a point where we can say Mike Durbin will be bowling in the Firestone next year because he's won it 3 times and he has 5 years more on his last victory.
Agreed. The Durbin will be around until he's 50 years old and ready for the Seniors Tour as you see Baker convert the 3-6-10. All right, the golden boy of professional bowling, all even. He's up in the 2nd frame.
Leaving a 2-pin. Pressure.
Just a little wide, you're right. Simple spare for Baker. You can see him starting to breathe very hard. He can feel that victory, feel that pressure.
Engaging personality. And so is this man. Charming, very bright. Talks to himself a lot. Don't we all when the heat's on? That's what Marshall wanted.
Probably the finest style in the last 20 years in all of bowling. Down low, steady head, shoulders level, just scoops that ball off the back of the wrist, a nice snap over the top of the ball. Look at that knee bend, and I'll tell you what, he made those pins talk on this shot. Vintage Holman strike, just rips the back end out. Leads by 1 pin, 3rd frame, strike working.
There's the man that wants his 20th title. And if he can win, he will become only the 3rd man to go over $1 million in money earned on the tour. And he would be the youngest to do it. Roth and Anthony, the other 2.
2 power players, and you see the power ball of Holman. He says, take out that 10. Here I come.
And for the first time today, we get a look at the 4, 6, 7, 9, 10. Nelson.
Well, what he has to do is get over here in this zone, get over in that 6-10 zone with all that speed and power, and hope he can bounce some of those pins around over into the 4-7.
$28-pin difference. Baker with an open in the 3rd. See if he can come back in the 4th. You see Holman has that double up.
The style of these 2 players, these contemporary young players, They can throw so many strikes that 28 pins is not very much at all, and 7 frames left in the match.
Okay, Mark Baker has won 2 games, keeping alive here, trailing by 28 now. More after this. We're back again at Riviera Lanes, and while we were away, we did not bowl through. We had a little housekeeping.
Well, what happened is somebody left a rubber mark basically off the heel of their shoe on the approach, and Larry Lichtenstein, who is our player services director, took a cleaning pad, went up there and just cleaned it off. Everybody's satisfied. They're ready for action now. As Holman comes up here live, leading by 28, a double working, has a chance to extend to 38 with a strike here in the 4th.
And it's a 2-pin for Marshall, who just seemed to keep sliding. Nelson looked like he might not stop.
Good point, Chris. He likes that that long slide, but not quite that much. As you see the career victories, Marshall Holman would be only the 6th player to win 20 titles in a PBA tour. Holman conversion here would lead by 27 pins. Oh!
How costly will that error be?
Is there pressure out there? We saw it last year as Bob Hanley was all over the building, could not close the door in the championship matches. Mark Williams went on to win. Once again, pressure affecting both players as Holman misses a very, very simple spare, the 2-pin.
But comes right back. Powerful strike. So important after a disastrous open to come back with that perfect pocket hit. Marshall did it. Strike in the 5th frame. Baker now with a strike up in the 4th. Trailing by 15, can cut it to 5 right here. He's stuck at the line. Gets a strike nonetheless.
Chris, he fouled. He slipped right over the line.
Did it. The light is on.
I'll tell you what, they'll have to go by the ruling now. Now, he can contest this, whether he did slip over the line or not, but I think he accepts it. The nice thing about it, if there is a nice thing about it, he had a strike up. And on a strike, you don't lose any pin count. He must throw the 2nd ball as if he threw a ball in the channel on the 1st shot. There seems to be some confusion among the tournament directors.
Called a foul on himself.
Now he has to reset himself. What in essence has happened, that foul shot is as good as 9 if he can convert the spare. Here you go. You watch Baker. He's down low. Now watch that little spot that they just worked off with the smoothing pad, Chris. You noticed it in Holman, how far he slid in that zone.
Oh, he
there
did.
he is. He's sliding right in that zone. Let's see what happens. That ball comes in. Look at that wrist cup under that hand. And he just slides right over the foul
really
line.
did.
The light goes off. Right now, can Mark Baker salvage a spare?
That is pressure bowling. That is pressure, ladies and gentlemen. It's the 2nd time his concentration has been broken. In the last match, accidentally a scissors dropped on the part of the opponent. And looked like Mark was through, but no way. This guy is tough.
What a bizarre match so far. Look at the scoreboard. Opens, misses, fouls, everything so far in the first 5 frames.
You look at it, it could very well have been a $22,000 shot. And now Marshall Holman makes careful to recheck the slide, and you see this hit.
The power of Baker just sawing up all 10 pins, drives that 5 over in the 4-7 zone. Holman still has a 15-pin lead. He has that strike up in the 5th working, can extend to 25, 6th frame.
This is our championship game in the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
Some of the questions we've had in our Ask Bo segment, Chris, as you see the reaction of Marshall Holman, is why do the players put so much spin and power on the ball? Why don't they just throw it down the middle? The answer is right here. When they have power like Holman, you don't have to have the perfect hit. You can move those pins around. Dean loved it. And by the way, I'd like to thank all those people who wrote in those Ask Bo letters. Very interesting, and we'll do the best we can to answer as many as we can.
reaction of the crowd. They love the antics of this highly intense competitor from Medford, Oregon.
Ooh. This is a carbon copy of the strike we saw Baker get in the 6th frame. The ball drives in light, drives the 5 into the 4-7 zone. Holman commanding 35-pin lead. Baker in a must situation.
And remember, that's the lane where he fouled, and he points down. The free spirit, loose.
No doubt about it. All 10 pins driven down by the power of Baker.
You know, our technical and production people are always looking for new angles, new shots, and they do some kind of job. You knew that one was in the bank. Is he ready?
Is he ready? He says, Marshall, you try to do that one. He just took those pins and took all that power and bowling ability and just scattered those pins. He took the 5-pin, threw it over against the left-hand wall. It shot back across, took out the 6 and 10. He's let Holman know that he's still in the match for the $50,000. Holman coming up, 15-pin lead.
Holman.
The bowling technician Holman trying to be the mathematician right now, adding up the score, figuring out what he needs. Right now, he is going at a 2:27 pace. Baker has a possible 2:32.
Re-rack requested, and Marshall says his ball did not return. The re-rack has done.
Well, as fate would have it, in a very tenuous situation, Holman doesn't even get his ball back.
There you see career money leaders, Earl Anthony, Mark Roth, and Marshall Holman, if he can win today, will go over the 1 million mark.
Holman, 25-pin lead through 8 frames, has 4 strikes up, can extend to 35, 9th frame.
Last year, Marshall was 22nd, won in 1976, and it's been a 10-year disappointment for him.
Making those pins talk. Holman in the 9th frame. He's just about closed the door on Mark Baker. Baker absolutely must strike here in the 9th.
But he will never get down. What a crowd. Representatives of so many industries, Bo.
Baker right here can force Holman to mark with a strike on this ball. Stubborn 10-pin may be... Well, he hasn't given up yet. It's not over yet, Mark Baker. You still have a chance to shoot 211. Holman would have to finish.
But I made all my 10 pins.
You know, good reaction. He has had trouble, as Bo indicated earlier, in covering 10 pins, and he just reminded the audience here that he made his 10 pins today.
His eyes told the story. He saw a little skepticism as the ball's going down. Now dejection.
With me.
211. Holman just has to stay in the building.
Yeah!
There's a winner, Chris.
All right. Here comes one of oh so few that have won 2 Firestone Tournaments of Champions. Marshall Holman, a great champion. He wins his second, $50,000 to go with it.
The Professional Bowlers Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Firestone, with over 4,000 Firestone retailers from coast to coast. By Radio Shack, the computer experts. And by United States Liberty Coins. Keep Liberty in mint condition. with United States Liberty coins.
Excuse me. Yes. How much is it going to cost?
I don't know. I'll have to ask.
Look, is my car ready yet?
I don't know. I'll have to ask. Is this warranty good into view?
Marshall, you aren't excited at all.
I tell you, I'm about ready to cry. I can't stand it. This is unbelievable. You know, after missing that 2-pin, I took a mental vacation, but oh, I just feel so great. And thank you, Firestone, and thank you, PBA, for allowing me to make a living. This is fantastic. This is the peak.
All right, now, before we get all the spoils of victory, let's go to Nelson Burton Jr. and Mark Baker.
Thank you, Chris. Mark, two bizarre happenings. The scissor incident with Del Warren. What happened?
Del was just taping his ball, and the scissors fell. I shouldn't let it affect me, and that's a 4-9 on the shot. I won the match, but that doesn't really matter right now. That board out there, I want to take that thing home with me.
You're talking about that foul in the 5th frame. If it had been a strike, you'd have been right in the match.
Well, I stuck in the 3rd, and or 2nd, whatever it was. And I Greek-churched, and I stuck. At the commercial, Marshall and I both went out there, and there's a black mark this long. We both, Litchie took it off, and the next shot, I tried it, didn't slip, and the next one I threw it perfect, but I fouled by about a foot. But hey, we're professional athletes, and things like this happen. You got to come back, and I made a match of it. I'm proud of myself.
I think everybody else is proud of you and our champion, Chris.
Okay, over $1 million earned on the tour. His 20th victory. Mr. Jay Rosenson, Vice Chairman of the Firestone Tire and Rubber Company, has something to add to the total.
Congratulations, Marshall. On behalf of Firestone, please accept this winner's check for $50,000. We also have a trophy for you.
Thank you.
You won't forget us.
Well, thank you very much, Jay. This is fantastic, and I've got one like this at home, a little more tarnished, but I'm going to have to go home and shine that one up so I can have a nice, shiny matching pair. This is absolutely my best day right now. This is going over $1 million and doing it in style with the Firestone. I love it. I love it.
Congratulations, Marshall. Thank you, Firestone, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the United States women's gymnasts face the world champion Soviet squad.